Welcome friends, it's Ray. Thank you so much for joining me today. In today's video, I will be using items from the Gina K Christmas in July kit. And this is my first Gina K kit. I will link to the video where I unbox the kit if you'd like to see the contents. Bringing in the Bursting Balloons 3D embossing folder, which has matching dies and layering stencils. That's what I'll be using today. I've embossed my panel on a 100-pound white cardstock. I'm placing my embossed panel on my grip mat, and then I will bring in stencil A and line that up before I start my inking. I'm bringing in my Tattered Rose Distress Oxide ink and just going over the petals lightly. And then I'm going to bring in my saltwater taffy and just darken up right at the base of each of those petals to add my contrasting color and shadowing. I'm making an A7 5x7 card today. I'm bringing in stencil B and I will line that up. This one has petals and leaves, so I will do the same coloring with Tattered Rose and then bring in saltwater taffy for accents on my petals. And then I will color in my leaf. Warning, you will see some mistakes and I leave them in so you can see them and see how I fix them. Here I'm bringing in crushed olive for the base of my leaves, or really starting with that for my leaves. All over, and then added a little post-it note at the bottom so I don't color over onto my cardstock. And then I added more crushed olive at the base of the leaf. And now I am bringing in my bundled sage for the contrast and highlights. I'm bringing in stencil C and lining that up, and we'll first color my remaining petals, and then we'll bring that same green ink in to color in my leaves. And I'll tell you, the first time I colored this stencil, I think it was stencil B, I added green onto one of my petals thinking it was a leaf. I don't know what I was thinking, so be careful. Make sure you know where your petals are versus your leaves. I've seen a couple of other makers actually color in some green in areas that should have been petals, so it's easy to do. So just to make sure you are thinking about that as you're coloring in your stencils. I'm bringing in stencil D, which is mainly the stems and then the center of that large floral on the left, and so I'm gonna color that in first with my crushed olive, and then I will come back in with my bundled sage like I did for the leaves. And here's where I just kind of went totally wrong. I brought in my Alton New Antique Gold Pigment ink to color the center of that top left floral. But then I smear it. It's sad. It's really sad, but I smear it. Can you believe that? But watch to see how I fix it. And here I'm bringing my stencil back in just so I can add a touch more of Tattered Rose to kind of soften up more of this white area that I have. And you can leave that white separation, but I kind of wanted mine to look more continuous. So just depending upon how you line up your stencil, you might color it in first time and you may not. Okay, so you just saw me mess up the center because my pigment ink dries a lot slower, and it was not dry, and I knew better as soon as I touched it. But we are going to fix that. Here I'm trying to add more Tattered Rose, more saltwater taffy, just trying to see if I can cover that up, and I cannot. So let me just get into fixing it. I left all these attempts to fix this in just so that you could see all of the things I thought of real quick here, and they did not work. I did speed this section up quite a bit. You can slow it down using your YouTube settings if you would like. Just wanted to leave it in though, just so that you see the full process. So here's how I'm going to fix it. I am just going to cut out, or what I did was I embossed the top two florals, the large florals, and then I'm going to ink them up, and then I'm going to cut them out. And you can do this opposite. You can cut them out first and then emboss them and then color them. But for me, it's easier to color with them intact, with the cardstock all around them. Okay, because I can always go back later and emboss them again if I feel like I've lost my dimension, my embossed dimension. And here, do you believe the nerve of me? I'm going to use that pigment ink again. What I should have done was used clear embossing ink and some gold embossing powder. I didn't think about that, honestly. So anyway, so it looks like I didn't have my camera on, but I do go in and bring in my heat tool and dry that gold pigment ink before I move to this next step. So I did run these through my die cutting machine, like the way they came out. Yes, they flattened just a bit, but not so much where I feel like I need to run them back through my die cutting machine. But definitely if you wanted to, you could. Just using my inks to touch up all of those leftover white areas. Here, what I did was I cut out my frame or cut out my cardstock panel with a piercing die that edged up the borders there, and that did flatten out my design a bit, so I did run it back through my embossing folder. And so here I'm going to go ahead and mount this onto my white card mat, and I partially released the release paper on my double-sided tape. Added liquid adhesive, so it gives me time to move that around on my mat, get it adjusted just where I want it, and then remove the remaining release paper. Next, I'm going to go ahead and do this exact same technique to get this matted or mounted onto my 5x7 card base. I did heat emboss my sentiment off camera, and this is a Sympathy card, so I'm bringing my sentiment in. I'm going to add some double-sided tape and some liquid adhesive to the back, and then affix that on my card towards the bottom, and then I'm going to bring in this extra floral bloom that I die cut, inked and die cut, and that I'll place that right above my sentiment. I'm adding some double-sided tape to my second floral that is going to cover up my owie. I'm going to remove all of that release tape, add some liquid glue, and then mount this directly over top my large floral, left floral. And here I've added foam tape to the back of that second floral, and I'm adding that right above my sentiment. And that's definitely adding some extra dimension. It's covering up a little owie I had down there. And I'm using my white gel pen. There was just a speck of ink. Not sure how I got it there, but it was a clean spot, very tiny. But I used my gel pen to clean that up, and now I'm bringing in my sequin mix and just putting 3 of those on my panel in a triangular fashion using the rules of 3, or the rule of 3. And I love how this card came out. I love the fact that Gina K added this to her Christmas in July kit, and it's something you can use all year round. And here's a closer look at both cards I made, the one on camera and the one off camera. Using the one off camera uses salvaged patina and peacock feathers distress oxide ink, same green. So I like both of them, but let me know in the comments which one you like best, especially for a Sympathy card. I was going for a soft look. I love the depth I got around the frame of the panel without adding too much extra bulk, like popping this up on foam tape. Instead, I used the white mat to back it, and I like that look. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you liked the video, and if not a subscriber, will subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Until next time, good day, friends.